A toad swallows one whole. Then, 82 minutes later, spits it out alive. That is not a magic trick. That is the bombardier beetle, one of the most chemically sophisticated organisms on the planet, and proof that nature's most extraordinary weapons are often the ones you cannot see. The bombardier beetle looks unremarkable. Its body is small, rarely longer than a centimeter. Its coloring ranges from rust orange to metallic blue-black depending on the species. It moves deliberately along the forest floor, beneath leaf litter, along stream banks, and under stones. Nothing about its appearance signals danger. That is, of course, the point. There are roughly 500 known species of bombardier beetle, belonging to the tribes Brachynae and Paucini within the family Carabidae. They live on every continent except Antarctica. They have been crawling the earth for tens of millions of years. And in all that time, they have perfected something that engineers and chemists still struggle to replicate in a laboratory. A built-in chemical weapon that operates at boiling point. Inside the beetle's abdomen sit two separate storage chambers. In one, hydroquinone. In the other, hydrogen peroxide. These chemicals are volatile. Mixed together, they react explosively. So the beetle keeps them apart, carefully, constantly, for its entire life, until the moment it needs them. That moment arrives when a predator strikes. In a fraction of a second, the beetle contracts a muscle, opening a valve between the storage chambers and a third structure called the reaction chamber. The chemicals flood in. Catalytic enzymes, peroxidases and catalases, accelerate the reaction to a speed that defies ordinary chemistry. The hydroquinone oxidizes. The hydrogen peroxide breaks down. The result is a gas-propelled spray of benzoquinone, a caustic irritant, expelled at nearly 100 degrees Celsius. The boiling point of water. The spray erupts from a rotatable tip at the end of the abdomen. The beetle can aim it in almost any direction, forward, backward, sideways, with precision that rivals a mechanical turret. Each firing lasts less than a millisecond. But it does not fire once. It fires in rapid pulses, up to 500 bursts per second, each one producing an audible pop. A machine gun made of chemistry. The sound alone startles a predator long enough for the beetle to escape. The heat scalds. The benzoquinone irritates skin and eyes. Together, they create a multisensory assault that few animals are willing to endure twice. Ants recoil. Spiders retreat. Frogs, which swallow insects indiscriminately, learn to associate the beetle's coloring with something deeply unpleasant. But some predators are not so easily deterred. Japanese common toads sometimes swallow bombardier beetles whole. And here is where the story becomes stranger still. Inside the toad's stomach, submerged in digestive acid, in total darkness, with almost no oxygen, the beetle does not stop fighting. It fires. Inside the stomach itself. The chemical spray irritates the gastric lining so severely that the toad vomits. The beetle emerges. Covered in stomach fluid. Temporarily immobilized. But alive. Researchers have documented this directly. They observed toads regurgitating bombardier beetles between 12 and 107 minutes after swallowing them. In many trials, the beetles recovered fully and walked away. Being eaten is not necessarily the end of the encounter. The precision of the bombardier beetle's defense has fascinated scientists for decades, but it has also made the beetle an unlikely figure in a long-running debate. Creationists once pointed to it as proof that evolution could not produce such a complex system through gradual steps, arguing that a half-formed chemical weapon would be useless, or worse, self-destructive. Evolutionary biologists have thoroughly addressed this. The precursor chemicals, hydroquinones and peroxides, are found in many beetles as routine metabolic byproducts. The enzymes that catalyze the reaction already existed in ancestral species for other purposes. The chamber walls are lined with a thick protein coating that protects the beetle against the heat it generates. Each component, at each stage of development, offered some advantage. The system did not appear all at once. It was refined over millions of years through exactly the incremental process that natural selection produces. The beetle is not a miracle of sudden creation. It is a monument to deep time. And its influence has reached beyond biology. Engineers studying pulse-jet combustion, the same principle that powered German V-1 rockets during the Second World War, have looked closely at the bombardier beetle's firing mechanism. The beetle solved a problem that aerospace designers grapple with: how to sustain rapid, controlled combustion cycles without destroying the structure that contains them. The beetle's reaction chamber withstands extraordinary pressure and heat, repeatedly, thousands of times over a lifetime. Biomimetics, the field of engineering inspired by biological systems, has cited the bombardier beetle as a model for fuel injection systems, fire suppression nozzles, and aerosol drug delivery mechanisms. The beetle does not merely defend itself. It demonstrates principles that took human engineers a century to begin understanding. There is also the matter of its colors. Many bombardier beetles display warning coloration, aposematism, advertising their defenses before a predator ever makes contact. The orange and blue combination common to several species is not camouflage. It is a declaration. An honest signal, in the language of evolutionary biology: I am not worth the trouble. The colors are a courtesy extended to predators, a way of avoiding conflict entirely, which costs energy on both sides. The beetle would rather not fire at all. The weapon exists as a last resort. Consider what it takes to carry that kind of arsenal through a life lived under stones and in the dark. The beetle must synthesize, store, and sequester two reactive chemicals without triggering the reaction prematurely. It must maintain the structural integrity of chambers that, when activated, produce forces capable of scalding a toad's stomach lining. It must aim, fire, and reload, in milliseconds, while being seized by something 100 times its size. And it does all of this without a nervous system remotely comparable to the creatures that hunt it. Without conscious planning. Without knowing what it is or what it can do. The bombardier beetle acts on instinct, shaped by evolutionary pressure so ancient it predates the continents as we know them. Here is the fact that reframes everything: the bombardier beetle does not fire indefinitely. Its chemical reserves are finite. A sustained attack can exhaust its supply. And in the moment the chamber runs dry, somewhere out in the leaf litter, far from any laboratory, the beetle becomes, for the first time, ordinary. It is only ever a few seconds away from being exactly as vulnerable. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, hit like and subscribe for more incredible facts.